Okay, here we go. New setup. I hope this is better. The intent that it's better. Remove some of the stark, bright whiteness. So you're stuck with more of me. Sorry. I'm continuing to work on lighting, trying to get that right. Also, same thing with audio. Thanks for everybody that's jumped in along the way and said, hey, audio's not working or it's dropping out. It's been difficult for me to tweak and see how things go. So your feedback is always super helpful. Couldn't do without you. So today, something that I don't think it's talked about enough is launching products. And one of the things that you hear from me all the time is I try to think of everything as a product. So this stream, or I'm actually working on a product. Got an app I just pushed into the App Store. Launching that. Launching yourself into a new job search. Viewing yourself as a product. What are the things that I need to do to get the word out about this thing, this person, this whatever it might be? I find it very useful to use that visualization in my brain and think about the things I do every day to build and launch products and apply those same patterns and practices to whatever I'm trying to do. I feel like I've been pretty successful / lucky in my business career in building and launching things. I certainly have had a lot of practice, good and bad mistakes along the way, but that's helped me reframe how I want to attack problems. So I just bring that to whatever I'm trying to launch. And oftentimes people try and do something new and they're paralyzed with how to proceed. What do I do? When so often folks in our business spend 8 to 10 hours a day doing that same thing just for something else. But now what I'm suggesting is that we apply that to ourselves and not just the things we build in our day jobs. Let's build ourselves. Let's build our brand. Let's launch ourselves with a new blog, with a updated LinkedIn profile, by reaching out to a company that maybe you aspire to work at. Anything. Launching yourself, just going to a meetup, introducing yourself, talking to people. All those things are important. Yet we seldom use the things that enable success in our day jobs and in the things that aren't the day jobs. So that's the thing that I wanted to talk about. How are we doing with that? What can we do? What can we improve? So I'm hopeful to get a good dialogue going as usual. Thanks to everybody about things they've done, things they've tried, changes they've made along the way. So that's the plan. A couple of updates. I'm working on changing our bot name to Walter Bot. I'm not there yet. I'm like halfway there. I've got it at least with a custom name, but it's just reusing our channel name. So I'm going through and figuring out what I have to do. I'll be excited. It's Walter Bot, because Walter, as you see back there, watching over everything. It's helpful. I enjoy him. I think our viewers enjoy him. He, after all, was the first emote for us ever. Unfortunately, my wife and daughter find him creepy. But the good news is that he's part of the brand. So he stays. I even got a Walter t-shirt for Christmas. I got a Walter sticker for my laptop. So it's really like they're stuck now. There's no way out. That's just the way it is. We're rolling with Walter. I have said that when I get my own space for my company, that Walter will go with me. I second guess that sometimes. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I imagine I'd be streaming from there. But we'll see. We'll figure it out. That will be a fantastic problem to have, and we can figure it out together. But I'm not going to worry about that. Because today, we're talking about launching products. So I'm looking for feedback, things people have tried, and I use the term products loosely. I should probably update that and put products in quotes in the topic for today or the channel description, because I do want to talk about launching the unconventional products, not the thing that you do every day, in building a thing for somebody and sharing it with them, be it internal customers, external customers, or maybe just yourself. I want to talk about treating yourself as a product and launching it in various ways. Last week, we talked about the things that we're doing to improve ourselves. We followed that up with a Metacast episode that discussed what Bob and I were doing to improve ourselves. So I wanted to continue that theme, continue that discussion around launching. So I'll talk through, I'll give an example, and then would like to see what others have to say out there. We'll go way back, and we discussed this on the podcast episode a little bit. We go back when I moved here to North Carolina. I moved here after living in Ohio for my entire life. So let's see, 10-ish years ago. So 30 plus years in Ohio, and then moving to a new state, and getting a job. I was lucky to get a job here, a pretty darn good one. Met Bob, but I quickly realized that, hey, this is a fantastic place to be. There's a ton of opportunities, but no one knows me. No one knows who I am. So I started really focusing on my brand, trying to think what I could do to launch myself into the area. And really, it was just, how do I find out what the options are? It wasn't that I knew where I was going. It was that I needed to understand what in the world was out there, what the possibilities were. Right? When I moved here because the RTP, those large companies, and then I quickly discovered this very exciting, growing startup scene here in Raleigh, and that's really where I find my passion. So, but I didn't, it's easy to go to RTP and see Microsoft and IBM and all those things, but how do I find my way into that startup environment, startup culture that I really enjoy working at? It doesn't just hanging out on a street corner. You got to go find it. So I started going to meetups. I'm not a huge meetup fan. I don't love going to meetups, but I found it very useful to go and, guess what, meet people. I made some fantastic friends along the way, some business partners along the way. But that wasn't my natural thing to do. There are many folks that are very good at going to meetups, and they enjoy it. While I do enjoy it, it's not the top of my list. Right? There's sometimes where I just want to go home. I don't want to go hang out with a bunch of people I don't know. Maybe I want to go see my kids. But just like technical debt inside of your product, you got to invest. You've got to do the things that might be a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe don't directly move things forward, but those are the things that increase the likelihood of future success for your product, whatever that product might be. So let's see, things for me, meetups. Heck, we even we started meetups. We started the Scrum Master Focus Group here in Raleigh. Then that in turn created the Product Owner Focus Group here in Raleigh. We hosted any and every meetup that we could. We did that at Dude Solutions because we were trying to launch the engineering brand of Dude Solutions. Because when I joined there, all of their engineering was done offshore. So no one knew about us as a place to go work because we never hired people. So we were never on anyone's radar. So our approach to that, to making sure people started to know us, was let's just jump into the community feet first. Let's host anything and everything we can. Let's start meetups. Let's get as many people walking through the door, talking to our great employees and understanding how fantastic an opportunity we had at Dude Solutions, trying to find the right people to help us along the way to make that a reality. is very much like culture. If you sit and wait for your culture to be born in a new company, I would bet significant amounts of money it's not going to end up the way you like it, because you didn't actively participate in building it. You have to actively participate in building your brand and the awareness of you or your company or whatever out in the world. So treat yourself like a product. Think about how the marketing teams that you work with, how they operate, the things they do. What can you borrow from them that was super successful? How can you apply it to launching your whatever? Getting that done. So that's the intent. Looking forward to hearing what others have tried, what they are launching. Maybe it's a new podcast, maybe it's a new stream, maybe you're writing a book, maybe you want to start blogging, maybe whatever it might be. There's a ton of options for you to put yourself out there. What I can tell you from painful experience is it takes a lot of time and energy. I got really lucky with the stream because we had a podcast. We had a pretty sizable following. We have people that tune in every couple of weeks and listen to our episodes. That provided a nice marketing channel for me to get the word out about this stream, which enabled me to grow pretty quickly to get to where we are. But that was prefaced by 8-ish years of creating podcast episodes and launching them into the void with confidence and excitement, knowing that no one was listening. So that's a key thing that I want to talk about, is going through that curve, that initial excitement around we're launching something, and then you quickly enter that trough of despair as you realize it doesn't feel like it's working. But that's what I want to make sure people understand, is that it is working. It just never goes as fast as you would like. Those are the moments when you need to have that conviction about that thing that you're doing. Those are the moments that you find out, do I really like doing this? Do I enjoy it? Does it make happy? Would I do it even if nobody pays attention? Those are the things that enable you to keep at it and get out of that, what I like to call the trough of despair, where you feel like you're working really, really hard, but you also feel like you're not getting anywhere. Those are the moments. Those are the moments that really define, do you pick yourself up and get out of that trough of despair? And do you launch the thing? Yeah, Charles. It's amazing what those meetup communities can provide to each other and how they take on a life of their own. And I tell you what, Charles, I am sure it is a ton of work for you. I know it was for us to get it started and to get people there. And, some of those, we had some meetups where it was like the three of us from our company and one other person. Hey, thank you, Charles. It is an exciting thing. It is crazy to think that I've known Bob for 10 years of my life, which is a relatively significant portion of my life. Not as significant, it's less significant to Bob, but more significant to me. So yeah, we are having a bit of a celebration on, Monday, when I record another episode and talk through a few things that we can do along the way to support the future growth of the podcast. So that same launching challenge that you have, that same launching pain that you have, can be very similar when you're trying to find that new job. you reach that breaking point with your current job and you decide you want to leave, you decide you want to find a better place, you want to find a better fit. You do a lot of work. You update your resume, you start connecting with people. And I found that very seldom do you quickly find that perfect fit. So what do you do? Do you keep pressing? Do you keep refining? Do you keep having discussions? Do you keep talking to more people? What do you do? How do you dig out of that trough of despair of, man, maybe I should just stay here. Maybe it's not worth the effort. I'll just suck it up and stay here. Maybe that's nothing to be sad about. Maybe you should embrace that. Maybe that's telling you, you know what? This place might not be so bad. Maybe I just had a bad month or a bad couple of weeks. And when I really look at it, maybe this is a good place for me. I went through that. There was a period, gosh, I don't know how many years ago, where I'd gotten frustrated and I like pounded my fist on the table and said, that's it. I'm only working at a place that is a place that I'm like super amazingly proud of to work. So I applied to Amazon, Google, and Twitter. At the time, those were the three places that I felt like if I could go work there, like how could I not be happy? So I applied. Interviews progressed. I flew across the country, talked to a ton of great people. I got offered jobs. But in the end, I realized that working at one of those companies wasn't going to be the thing that made me happy. It helped me refocus and understand the things that really provided the happiness and joy for me. And it was more about the happiness and success that my family had here, supporting that and the growth, and how lucky we had become to get into the school that we wanted to for our kids. And resetting that for a job across the country. In the end, what I discovered is that wasn't the driver for my happiness, and that I could create more happiness in my job along the way by taking a more active role and driving the organization in the ways that I thought we could go. So that was very important to me, getting out there and trying that and failing. It's only labeled a failure if you look at what your intent was when you started versus the discovery you had along the way that reshaped your view of the world or the thing you're trying to accomplish. So if I were to rewind back when I started applying to those three companies, the fact that I didn't end up at one of them would have been defined as a failure. But in a very agile way, I learned as I went. I learned more about myself and who I was and what really drove my happiness, who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And I don't think I would be as happy now if I didn't go through trying to launch myself into one of those three companies. If I didn't a lot of time and effort into the hiring process with those three companies, let me tell you. So that was a lot of time and energy away from other things. But in the end, it helped me discover more about myself and put me ultimately in a happier place. Now, it wasn't, again, just like launching a product. Sometimes you think it's going to look like this when you start. Then you put it in front of customers and you get that feedback and you understand that in reality, it looks 50% of what we thought it should be. Maybe we only needed half of it. Maybe we needed twice as much. We don't know, but we didn't know until we launched the thing. So to me, that's why it's so important for people, for everyone, to get comfortable launching things, launching themselves, launching any product that you may have, that you may be a part of. So that's the question for everybody. Again, last week we talked about what we're doing to improve ourselves. Amen, Charles. Amen. And it is interesting. I don't know many folks that have short-circuited that learning curve. A lot of the folks that I've met along the way have chased that title or that brand name company to be a part of. I am a fantastic example of that. But I found that chasing that title or chasing that company, chasing that brand name, again, it provided me experiences along the way. And as long as I took an agile approach and was retrospective on a regular basis and questioned the thing and talked to my customers, of which I'm one of, and my family, and anyone else that was a part of who we were and who we are, along the way, hitting the pause button, doing a quick validation, adjusting your path, adjusting your sprint plan, saying, okay, we thought we should go left, but after going left for a couple of months, we realized that maybe we should go slightly to the right, or maybe we need to take a hard right turn. That's the question. But if you don't take the time to hit that pause button and really provide yourself with a retrospective, you could blindly make some challenging choices. I started to say wrong choices, but in the end, I don't think wrong is the right word. I think they're choices that could just present you with more challenges. Doesn't mean you couldn't overcome them. It doesn't mean they won't shape you ultimately to be better. A lot like that hiring process I went through. But it takes effort and energy to get out there and to drive these things. Mail's here. Wonder what we got today. You know, it's one of those things. I can't explain it. I still get excited about the mail, even though 99% of the days there's nothing in there that is of any value to me. It's junk mail or bills or some crazy subscription that my wife signed up for that sends her, I don't know what, the pink envelope that she gets very excited about. I think, oh no, more of that. But every once in a while, there's something really cool and really exciting in there. Charles, you're the man. You're the man. That's the perfect question. How long are your personal sprints? How often do you hit that pause button and evaluate your happiness? How often do you update your forecast of where I'm going, what I'm doing? Or are you one of those companies that maybe as an agile coach you walk into and you realize there's no strategic approach to anything here. You're just wandering the earth. Now, I've been at some amazingly successful companies where they had no strategic direction at all. They were lucky. They were insanely good at like a brute force winning and just driving towards wins along the way. Now, one of the things that I do think can be problematic is that sometimes people take the waterfall approach and they end up trying to build this perfect 5-year personal plan for where I'm going to be and what I'm going to do and line up all the things, and don't take the agile approach. So I'm not suggesting that anybody tries to have this magical 5-year plan of who I want to be and where I want to go and what I want to be doing. I do think you should have a destination in mind, but it's going to be a long and winding road to get there. Man, you guys are so dang good. I, sadly, painfully, have to admit that unfortunately, I wing it. So if you listen to our last episode 157 of the Metacast, we talked about the things that we're trying to do to improve ourselves being Bob and we both were saddened by how little we actually walk the walk, and it doesn't align with the talk that we're talking. Like right now, I'm suggesting all of these things. But yet, you guys are talking about, hey, I take time every 2 weeks and set aside time to focus on me. I stink at that. Thank you, Charles. We were pretty happy with it. We thought it was a good episode. But I am not good. So in that episode, you may have heard some of the tips and tricks that I use to trick myself into doing the right things for what internally I believe are the right reasons. Maybe they're not even the right reasons when you step back and look at things, but I've at least figured out how I tick and what I do and the way I work. So I'm trying to trick myself. Luckily enough, I'm gullible enough to buy into that, and it works. 57 deep. Cow. Well, thank you, Lynn. We're recording one on Monday, so there should be some more coming. VA Agile, you're right. Number 1, VA Agile. I saw it's raining in Australia. Fantastic. Good to hear. It is an amazingly difficult balance of tactical and strategic. And oftentimes that tactical planning is easier and we feel as if we get more wins out of focusing on the tactical. Many companies, many product organizations fall into the same trap of focusing on the tactical because it's easier to get those wins, to feel successful, to feel as if you're making progress. While you might be making progress in the short term, are you actually making progress on that longer term strategic goal? That is, as Lynn mentioned a few chats before that, much more difficult. So, okay, I do want to ask one question of the viewers that are here. How is the font size on the text on the stream? I don't know if people pay more attention to the chat in Twitch itself or if people look at the chat on the stream. Keep the chat on the stream for people that watch it later via YouTube. I get a significant amount of people that watch things when I publish it to YouTube. So I want to make sure it's consumable. I've got 1 million screens open on my desktop, so it looks okay, but I do want to ask the actual consumers that are out there and see if it's a good size. I made some tweaking before we launched, and as you can tell, I've changed a ton of other things about our stream. So hopefully you guys are cool with it. Yeah, I tell you what, Charles, So just drop a message in the chat and let me know. Thumbs up if it's good, thumbs down if it's not good, or I should make it bigger or smaller or whatever. Let me know. Just, again, trying to continually refine the product. So Charles, one of the big transitions that I went through, bifocals. Yes, go team bifocals. Well, all right, VA Agile, fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, that's right. That is good, because if you jump into the stream a little bit late, your chat window is blank until you start chatting. So, okay, there's another bonus for that. Cool. Thank you for the feedback. So let's see. One of the difficult transitions for me, talking about the tactical versus the strategic, was it was my first CTO type role, and I came in and started helping a company, and it was a disaster, just a disaster, and it was constant firefighting, constant. And about a year later, we had put out all of the fires. And I was sitting across the desk from a director that we had hired not too long ago, and she had really helped us get things fixed to where we didn't have fires every day. And I distinctly remember this moment, and it was where I had to figure out how to learn how to be strategic. I had been tactical for so long, and I was just sitting there, and I was like staring at my inbox. And there was no fire. And this panic came over me. What in the heck do I do now? I like leaned around my monitor and said, Carol, what do I do? Like, we fixed all the things. There's no panic. We're not sprinting towards a disaster that we have to go fix. And in classic fashion, she said, why are you asking me? I feel like you should have that answer. And I said, yeah, you're right, I should, but I don't. So I'm asking for help. So we discussed some things, and in the end, I just had to go figure out, I had to go learn how to transition from the tactical, those easy, air quote, easy wins, right? None of it was really easy, but in the long run, it's easier than setting a strategic direction and maintaining it and making sure it's the right direction, all those things. I had to go figure that out. It took me 6 months of really training myself on how to do that, and not allowing myself to fall into the trap of the easy tactical things, because we had built a great team. They handled it. They were on it. Anything that came up, they crushed it. Oh man, Lynn, I tell you what. So here's what I did. I packed an apple every day, and I went on a half-hour to 45-minute walk, me and that apple. And what that did, the trick for me was it extracted me from that environment where for so long I had been in this hustle and bustle trying to do the next thing. Now, even if something came up, I couldn't react to it. I didn't know it was happening. So what I found to be very helpful for me in figuring that out was building time where I extracted myself. And I said that to my team. I sat down with my team and said, okay, here's the deal. Here's what I'm struggling with. Every day, for a significant portion of the day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go out and I'm going to go try and figure this out. And I want them to just look around and say, like, where the heck did Josh go? Right? Like, what's this dude doing? He's not Johnny Appleseed out there planting apple trees. Right? So that space was the key for me. Now, the things that drove the way I thought about things at that time, I talked to a lot of people that I thought had a really good handle on the strategic side of the house. So I talked to more people in higher level product roles. Books were suggested, 2 books that I read in that time period that were beneficial to me. Actually, there's 3 that were beneficial to me. There were 2 by Jim Collins. The first one was Good to Great. That was one of those books that kind of is like, feel like a lot, even like for those that are on the stream, if Kraz was here, he would make fun of me because yes, I actually read some of these books. So I read that book and it was really exciting. And then I talked to my CEO and we talked about it. He said, you know what, Josh, you should probably read Collins's other book, which was Great by Choice, because the difference was Good to Great talked about companies that transform themselves from one thing to another. But what we were trying to do as a startup was we were trying to just be great by choice. How do we start great? What can we do? So that provided an alternate spin. Another book along the way was The Lean Startup. Reading that. Those things fueled my mental arguments as I was on my Apple walks. So I think you'll find a ton of content about strategic planning, building, just understanding how to do that. But to me, there will be no shortage of content for you to figure that out. What was the game changer for me was intentionally extracting myself, giving myself the space to think through that, not allowing myself the opportunity to fall into the trap of, oh, there's a bug that came in, I should probably pay attention to that. As I look back, that was the thing that enabled me to train myself. I had to give myself the space. And that's something that I'm not always good at. I wish I was better at giving myself space to tackle some of these things. And I'm sure many of you fall into that same challenge, that as a coach, we derive satisfaction and happiness from helping others. And that likely means you spend less than an optimal amount of time helping yourself. So that time gave me the space to figure that out. Yep. Lynn, as usual, you nailed it. You nailed it. And that was, I tell you what, the harder part for me, and I think this is just one of those typical challenges that I have given the way my brain works, was really delivering that strategic vision in a concise and coherent way. Because where I struggle as a communicator is, so let's take math. I was pretty good at math. I certainly wasn't great at math. I didn't go to MIT or anything like that. I struggled at calculus in college, but growing up, math just made sense to me. And I could look at it and the steps would happen in my brain and I knew the answers. And I often lost many points simply because I didn't show the work. But I had a hard time showing the work, because I would look at it and say, oh yeah, that's 75. You know? So I, over time, had to learn how to how to show my work. As I built that strategic vision, right, there are things along the way where I've seen it and it makes sense in my brain, but I had to work really hard to deliver that to my team, because it doesn't matter if it makes sense in my brain. It only matters if it makes sense to the team who's going to do the hard work to deliver on that goal. So that, as a leader, is one of those key things that I think the podcast, things like the stream, have enabled me to refine that skill and understand the tactics that you need to deliver on those discussions. And yes, talking too fast, that is one of those never-ending challenges. Never ending. I can remember the first conference that I spoke at, the first big conference I spoke at, I think it was like a 60-minute talk. I was done in 40. And I had practiced it so many times. And it was, right around like 50, 55 minutes. And I got up there and it was like Indy 500 of words coming out of my mouth, just so fast. But along the way, just practice. Just practice. I think one of the things that you'll see is I've been working on just adding pauses, kind of thoughtful pauses. Lynn, I agree. I actually like that approach of getting the point up front, and that's an approach that I don't know if I often deliver things that way, because that's how I like it, but I always get frustrated when I don't understand why you're telling me the thing you're telling me. Like, tell me why you're telling me this thing, and then provide me with the supporting details. I like movies where there's a surprise at the end, but I don't like the surprise at the end where you've been telling me these things and at the end now I put it all together. Right? Like Pulp Fiction, right? Or Memento, or all these different movies that are out there where there's all these various threads, then they come together magically at the end. I actually like to know up front in the business setting. I enjoy those movies. But in the business setting, I like to know our destination, and then help me paint the picture of how we're getting there. Yeah, 2 ears and one mouth. That is a classic. Oh man. Here we go. People referencing things I don't know. I'm gonna have to Google that. Thank goodness Kraz457 isn't here. I'd be hearing all about that. And thank you guys for not smacking me over the head with that, because we have a few viewers, and it's the ones that live around me, that I know in person, that are quick to take the jab at me. I think they do that because I do that to them. So it's probably my own fault. But, I guess it's one of those, you reap what you sow. My own fault. Which, that's fine. I can accept that. Oh man, look at this. Yeah, I don't, hey, there we go. Yeah, see, these are the things that along the way would have really helped me. Agile for instance. I didn't even know we were doing Agile the first time we were doing it. We just started changing things because we were frustrated and we wanted them to be better. After about a year in, I got an email from a developer and said, "Hey, Josh, there's this thing called Agile, and I think we're doing it." And it's like, well, holy crap. That would have been really useful. There's like a guide and recommendations and other people doing this. And we might have stumbled around in the dark a lot less if we had known that. Yeah, I agree. So it says 8. Okay, it does give you an order. So I assumed the top of the circle was the first step, but they actually have it like ordered 1 to 0 below. All I have to do is scroll. Imagine that. Oh, man. Cool. All right. Well, my friends, we're about 50 minutes in. I feel like I've said a lot of words. I got very Bob Galen on everyone. A lot of talking for me here. Anything else we need to tackle? Anything that you are launching? And I use that word in a very broad sense. That you think we could help with. Any frustrations along the way that you may have. Well, I can tell you, I feel better about this stream layout. I think it was Scrum Sarge who was like shocked at all the bright white on the previous version. So I think this is good. I think this is better. Keep providing me feedback on if you think changing something, adding something would be beneficial. I'd be happy to do so. Because, you know, you got to talk to the customers. You got to figure out if they like it, if they don't. Thank you, Charles. I think it's better. I feel better. So we'll stick with it for a while. Make some tweaks. I still have there's still some alert issues, but I think I can tweak it. I'll make it better, but that's what weekends are for. So I'll be doing that. Continuing to refine things. All right, so let's see, a couple of things. Just to recap. We talked about launching things. Oh, well, thank you. Maybe it's better sleep. I've been working on getting better / more sleep. So we'll say it's that. I also feel more comfortable streaming here than I do at Bob's house. I enjoy having Bob on the stream, but I have a better / more reliable setup here. I've done it, probably 60 times here versus 5 or 6 times, and there's always a little something that doesn't go as smoothly at Bob's house. There's tremendous benefit to having Bob there, but in the end, it's not my home stadium. You don't have everything all set up. So we as a family invested in improving our streaming setup because pretty much all of us are streaming now, which is cool. Kids are enjoying it. And they get amazingly excited when there's just one viewer and somebody says something to them in chat. It's fantastic. So they are going through launching themselves. So that's why this topic was front of mind for me, is as my children begin launching their own brands, watching them, seeing them struggle through it has been good, interesting. And I try and provide just enough coaching along the way. Gotta let them stub their toe every once in a while, figure things out on their own. But I've been seeing this launching thing in a lot of places lately, so it was front of mind. So hopefully you can walk away from this discussion and just, even if the only thing you do is take some advice from so many of the viewers that talked about how often, maybe every 2 weeks or once a month, they actually do a personal retrospective, personal sprint planning, maybe even a personal backlog refinement. That's one of the things that walking away from, I'm going to try and do better at, because you guys have clearly shown me it can and should be done. Again, that's one of those things, like in episode 157. I should be doing the things I'm saying, and I'm not. So here we are. So yeah, that's what I'm going to work on. Take some time, make some time. If you're trying to transition into strategic thinking, trying to spend less time in the tactical realm, give yourself some space, give yourself some time, separate from the tactical trap. I really do think that's what it is. It's a trap of the tactical small wins. Careful. Step away, go figure those things out. And we will chat 1 week from now. So thank you to everyone for being here. Thanks for the feedback on the stream layout. It's helpful, it's beneficial. I'm feeling better. As Charles said, I am more relaxed about that, which is cool. That ends up generating better content in the end. And we will do it again 1 week from now. Oh, and I got to build a daggone stream rather than just this like harsh slap in the face. And we're out. Because that's what's coming. You too, everyone. Have a great weekend. Stay warm out there. Seems like the East Coast is getting cold. So if you're on the East Coast, we have many folks in Texas. Stay warm. Stay dry. Stay safe. We'll see you in a week.